Hi, I'm James Landreth.
And I'm Julianne Gale, and we're with Mason County Climate Justice.
Today you're joining us at Hoodsport Library in Hoodsport, Washington. And it's hard to believe, but just a few years ago, the area that we're standing in was just a gravel parking lot. We've been working since around 2020 to transform this into a community food forest for everyone.
And a little bit about the history of the Hoodsport Community Food Forest is that we took what was basically a little bit of a personal tragedy and turned it into opportunity and food for the community. So back in 2020, my family lost our housing due to mold and a roof leak, and we had all these fruit trees and we wanted to know what to do with them. So we had a big community giveaway where we gave away plants and soil, but we wanted the trees to be somewhere that everyone in the community could benefit from. So fortunately, Annie, who's the manager at the Hoodsport Library, was thrilled with this idea and said, yes, come plant the trees. So we started in 2020 with just a few trees planted. And then this year we were able to come back with, a few dozen more and create something that everybody in the community can benefit from.
One of the most common things that I hear when we teach about how to grow food is, James, I don't think that my house has the right conditions for an orchard or a food forest. People will come to me and say, I just don't think my soil is that great. Maybe it's really rocky, maybe it's too sandy or a very heavy clay. But I think this is a fantastic example of how you can grow an orchard anywhere. This used to be a gravel parking lot, as we mentioned, and we did very little to transition it into orchard quality soil. Mostly we left it alone for a few years so that the grass could move in and break it up, and we've also been covering it with mulch. So the thick mulch that we apply helps break up the soil quite a bit. The fungi and earthworm activity act in a natural way to soften the soil a bit. But in addition to that, we have a bunch of other strategies. So one of the things that we do once we have things going is we use liquid fertilizer on the trees. Not anything conventional, but instead we use things like fish emulsion and worm tea. And that actually gets down into the soil to encourage biology to grow and flourish, and that helps quite a bit with softening the soil further. And then in addition to that, we inoculate our trees with mycorrhizal fungi, and that will continue to pave the way and break up the soil down below. And last, a key strategy is planting the trees themselves. Not only do we break up the soil when we do that, but the tree roots themselves are really excellent for getting down through hard pan, and their leaves over time also help to heal the soil. Another key strategy for getting a tree to survive in difficult soil conditions is to dig the hole really wide. If you dig too deep, it can start to cause problems, but going wider allows for more amendments over a much wider area. And so that's a strategy that we did with this pear. Normally, we would go maybe 1.5 times the size of its root, but we really worked hard the day that we planted to go 2 or 3 times as wide. If you're dealing with really adverse conditions, it's also important to select the right kind of plant so that you're actually taking advantage of those conditions. So next to me, we have a fig tree, and behind us is the asphalt. And asphalt and concrete work during summer to create a lot of heat. That can be really detrimental if you're trying to grow something that likes a temperate environment. And that's why we selected mostly figs and also quince to go close to the pavement. So these actually benefit from this climate, and they turn that problem into a solution. So the last thing that I want to mention has to do with planning for your community. Whenever we plant an orchard or food forest for the whole community, we try to select cultivars that will fruit throughout the year from early summer until late fall. And we really try to prioritize fruit trees that are good for storage. So next to me I have a late season pear. This, if it's harvested correctly and kept under the right conditions, could store through April, which pretty much connects one season to another. And then in addition to this, you can grow storage apples. You can also produce medlars, quince, and some types of persimmon. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'd like to give a really big thank you to Raintree, who donated most of these trees. This really wouldn't have been possible without you. We look forward to thousands of pounds of food production.
And if you're interested in joining us, you can find out more about us and sign up for our email list at www.masoncountyclimatejustice.org.